I have that with the Kinney brothers, okay, and probably more so with Ed than anybody else, just because Ed and I lived in the same area in Maryland, and I got to spend more time with Ed than I have with Brendan and Jim. Although I've spent a lot of time on the phone with Jim here the last couple of months, figuring this stuff out too. But I knew that when I got the initial like word of the things were changing, I knew that I could trust them, and I wanted to hear from them like what their take was. They get into doors that I don't get into. They get to hear stuff that I don't get to hear, and I wanted to hear from them. And when I heard from them, and mainly Ed and I had a great conversation. I don't know if it was yesterday or day before, but he just kind of laid out some stuff. And you know what? It was 2 days ago because so Ed talks, and like you guys know, I don't have a lot of education and everything. It takes me just because I got a thick head and I'm stubborn and I'm not really paying attention to you because I got my idea of what I think. But literally, I know it was 2 days ago now because yesterday morning I was in the shower. I'm pointing over here because I'm in my bedroom and that's where my shower is over there, the bathroom. I was in the shower and all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute. I think this might actually be a better deal. Because all of a sudden, like some of the stuff that Ed was telling me started like actually registering in my brain. And I was like, okay, that's definitely different. I don't know if that one aspect is necessarily better, but overall, when I'm looking at this whole thing, I think it's a better deal. Okay. And I'll let Ed tell you some of it, but where I'm coming from is this. I'm fired up that I know when I'm going to get a box now, and I can talk. It's not so much that I know when I'm going to get mine, but now when I go talk to somebody else, I can tell you exactly when you're going to get your box. Okay. And that is something that we didn't have before. And if somebody came to me and said, hey, Shawn, for $99, I can make it where you can tell all you and all your people and all your people's people, I can make it where they'll all know the exact time that they'll get their box. Would you pay me $99 for that? I'd have paid him $1,000 for that. I'd have said, yes, sign me up right now. I want that information. And that alone was worth the $99. But then we got bumps in commission. We got all kinds of other stuff that, our downline got bumps in commission and we got bumps in commission. So when you add all this stuff up, all the stuff that we were going to have to do before, we don't have to do. We just make more money. It covers that initial $99. Literally, I think in your first month, maybe 2 months, you're going to make that back. So anyways, Ed, I'm stealing your thunder. I'm talking about stuff that I was going to let you talk about. But I hope people understand that what we've got our hands on is a better deal, and I hope people have been paying attention to the price of H&T over the course of last week. I don't know what it's doing today, but if it hasn't lost 2/3 of its value, it's worth significantly more than it was when we started doing this back in like July, August timeframe. I think when I got started, it was below $15. I want to say at one point it was like at $11 or something.
It's at 44 right now.
And it's at 44. So it's 4 times what it was a couple of months ago. So when you put all those factors together, I'm pretty fired up right now. So, Ed, I talked too much, man. I was just kind of killing time to let people get on here. And now here we are 9 minutes into this thing, and I'm still running my mouth. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I know I skipped over some stuff. Maybe start with, like, what was going on and why iHub kind of looked at this and their investors and said, wait a minute, guys, we can't keep going down this path. We got to make some changes or something like that. Maybe start there or something.
Cool. So thanks, everybody, for coming on here. And thanks, Shawn, for, having the conversation with me a couple days ago. Because you're one of the people, if I'm going to war, I want you right there with me because you're just one of the good guys. And, it's hard to find good people that, foxhole people kind of thing, And so, you're an honest person, you're an honest broker, and you're just trying to do what's best for everybody on your team, and that's always appreciated. And the news that came out when we were all in Vegas, it was a major catalyst shift, right? And kind of I want to give you the backstory on what it is, because I went there to Vegas. I personally seen the people that were all in business with. I wanted to go there to size them up and see who these folks are. And I'm no crypto expert. I'll tell you that right off the bat. I've been introduced to a million crypto things over the last 4 or 5 years, and I've listened to a few, and I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. It was too much for me, and it wasn't something I thought would translate to the general population. So I kind of stayed away from it. But when I saw what Helium was doing, it was not such the crypto thing. It was more of the business model behind it that intrigued me, where we could create this people's network for IoT devices, which are going to be billions of them out there. And from my cell phone experience, it was like a parallel universe, except instead of cell phone towers with one company making all this money, their idea was to give the people an opportunity to be the cell phone tower and pass that money along to us. So that's the premise that really attracted me. So when we first got involved, it was June 9th, and it was going to be $500 a box. So you put yourself in, you get yourself in the queue, and when the boxes were going to ship, you'd be asked to pay the $500, and then the box would ship. But the boxes are so scarce. There's all this, we all know about supply chain and chips and all these stuff we hear about in the news all the time. And the deal is with these manufacturers, they want the money. Like if they're going to give you any kind of quantity, you have to pay them in full upfront, months in advance, in order to get any kind of quantity. And if you try to go get it online now, you're going to eBay, and you can do that, but it's not practical for iHub Global to go to eBay and pick off boxes. It's just no way to grow a big business, and then wait 9 months for those boxes to come in. Pain in the butt. So then they introduced the free deployment model, and the reason why they did that was because they bought a software company that had intelligence to know kind of, if I put a box here, this is how much it will be. So then it was like, okay, let's find the best addresses because those are the ones that will get the free deployments first. But what happened, like any good company, for the financial people, I think you'll meet tomorrow night on the call, the big investors, you could look them up online. They're big. One is Kronos Partners, and the other one is Jord Partners, Jord. These guys are the ones that are stroking a $150 million check. And I think about that number, and it's like, that's a lot of money, right? So hey, you need to do a little pilot, a pilot test to make sure that the free deployment is going to be the way to go. So the iHub has been doing this pilot underground for the last 3 months with a total of 600 boxes. And because of the way that it was represented by the field, a lot of internet marketers were attracted to it because they never had to talk to anybody. They could just send out messages, free box, put it in your house, and make money. Doesn't cost you anything. And people were signing up in droves because it's a no-brainer, right? But turns out a lot of the people that were signing up for it, they really didn't even know what they were signing up for. So iHub Global starts to send out some of these free deployments, 600 of them to be exact, and to this day, 24% of those boxes, and these boxes they're worth their weight in gold, have not been plugged in. So people have actually received the box. They have something that we all want, and they never took it out of the box and plugged it in to start to reap the rewards. I don't know why they didn't. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know how to do it, whatever. But they never had a relationship with really anyone at iHub or iHub in general because they just signed up off the internet or whatever. So when you're the investors about to stroke a check for $150 million and you see that 24% of those boxes are not deployed, you have to say, sorry, we can't take that kind of risk. That's just way too much of a non-commitment from the field to get these boxes deployed. So they said the only way we can do this is with some type of collateral, or significantly, and that's what had to happen. So Rick Cotton, who tried his best to make the free deployment work, and his philosophy was, you could go back in history and say free's never really worked, but Rick was like, these boxes, you get them and you plug it in and you make money. Who wouldn't do that? Like, if you got a box, who wouldn't put it in? That's what he was thinking. But it turns out that it's the truth. Free just never really works. I don't care what it is. You can give away $1 million to 1,000 people and tell them they got to go down the street to get it, and I guess 24% wouldn't do that. So So it brings us back to what the reality that Rick was facing going into a big event, a day one event, which just happened last Saturday. And he's got to pivot and introduce a different model, which is either a lease or a down payment or a deposit. So that was the reality that came upon us. And so he said, I know that there's going to be a lot of flack back for this, for people that have worked tirelessly to get their teams built up, waiting for free deployment to come. And I got to do something to, kind of make up for it a little bit. And so what he decided to do is they plug it in for 90 days. The first 90 days, the host would receive 15%. Now, if that host went out there and got 5 other people to do an assessment through the helium track, then that would be a way for them to get up to 25%. Okay, so if you're getting people on board and they just say, yeah, I'll take a box, but they have no intention of ever getting anyone else involved, they just said, hey, you can use my internet, I'll read the word. Those people would just automatically stuck at 15% from that point on. So he said, what we'll do is we'll just make it 25% from day one, because that will more than offset any kind of lease cost. So, when someone goes in and actually take the time to go online and get either $99 today, that secures their shipping date, shipping month, I should say, and it will also give them an antenna, because if you look at helium, there's about getting close to 300,000 boxes out there. The ones that have aftermarket antennas on them are performing 20 to 30 times or 20 to 30% better than just the antennas that come with the actual hotspot. So if everyone at iHub Global has antennas that are aftermarket, we're automatically going to outperform everyone else in the helium universe on average. Our boxes will be doing 20 to 30% better. So that's good for all of us. We're getting compensated off the rewards of these boxes. The more the rewards, the more we get compensated. So having that antenna is a good thing. So the $99 covers the antenna and the shipping and all that. So then when you get the notification that your box is going to ship, that's when the lease would start for the $18 a month. Okay, so then you get the box, you plug it in, it starts to earn. You've already got your antenna weeks before the box, and then put the box in, and it starts to earn, and you get 25% from day one. So that's one option. The lease options, 36 months. I don't know what's going to happen after 36 months. They're working on that now, but it's either going to be where you can buy it for $1, and then you don't have to pay anything more, or you could upgrade to the latest technology and get a new lease with a new box, and then they can take those boxes and deploy them to different parts of the world. Whatever they're going to do, I don't know the answer to that question right now. So then the other option is you pay the $99 and you get the antenna, you get the box shipped to you, and when the box is going to ship, they say, okay, we're going to ship your box. Now we need you to come up with a little bit of interest. Escrow has laws. It's safeguarded money, and it can't be used. It can't be touched. It has to stay in a safeguarded place. And I think they can earn interest on whatever the interest rate is at that escrow bank. So think about it. Like the average box right now at iHub Global is doing about $400 a month in rewards. Okay, so if you have a box that's doing $400 a month and you are on the lease program, with the 15%, you would be at $60 a month. That would be 15% of 400. At the 25%, which is what everybody's going to get now, that would be $100. So you do the math on it and say, okay, if I'm paying $18 a month and I'm making $100 back, and the net to me is $82, that's better than the $60 that I would have gotten if I just got the 15% and I didn't go out and get anybody else and stayed at 15%. So to me, it accomplishes, and I know that this was a really crude thing for people to hear. That, oh my God, the free's gone. Oh crap, this company sucks, and I can't trust these guys. They made this big change, but I think after a couple days of kind of marinating on the news and thinking about the realities of what the math is, and the most important thing from my perspective is the clarity on when you're going to get the box, because in the free model it was anybody's guess. When is my box going to come? Could it come 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from, I have no idea. There's no way to know that. This way I put the $99 down. As long as my number is under 19,000, I'm going to get my box in January, because the capital for the boxes has already been deployed. We have 7 different manufacturers. Well, not all 19,000 are going to come from one manufacturer. They're going to come from 7 different manufacturers. So we have 3,000 units from this one and 4,000 from this one. And those units they're guaranteed to ship in January. So you now know, if you act today and you do the 99 part of it, you're going to get your box. It's going to plug it in. So from a recruiting perspective, to introducing new people to this today, it's a lot different than it was a week ago, because I wasn't even really recruiting new people a week ago because I couldn't really tell them when they were going to get a box. But now I can go back and start to introduce people to this, knowing that if they sign up now, they'll get a box in January. So, and for the rest of the field, all they have to do right now is just go on their website and go in and do either A, the lease, $18 a month, or B, the deposit, and they know that in January they're going to get their box, and people on their team are going to get it. So it's kind of like, right now it's like a race, an urgency race to get to 19,000 units, and those people will get their delivery. But then if you look at the shipping schedule, which was shown on stage in Vegas, and I just posted it in the Facebook group, it's a total of 274,000 boxes that are going to be deployed in the US and Canada for right now, through July. 30 to 50,000 boxes. There we go. So 30 to 50,000 boxes a month coming on a regular. And when these boxes in January, when these boxes roll, the people who were able to are going to start to make 19,000 people money, and it's going to start to generate income, and it's going to start to do all the stuff that you want it to do. And iHub's name will be out there for people to say, wow, they delivered. So, I'm personally very happy with this, because I think what it's going to do is it's going to create clarity for all of us of when we can expect boxes. So when you're recruiting people, you can kind of tell them. And then B, it's going to create quality people. When someone's got a liability or a deposit out there, they're going to want to do what is best for that box. If it's free, one of the things, I've got a little bit of experience with it now, with about 50 boxes out there in the field, and boxes go offline. There was a storm, a nor'easter, that hit the Northeast about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, and it took us 90% of them came back on, no problem, but 10% of them would come back and say needs help. And if you're a person who the host isn't checking that box on a daily basis, just really quickly wake up in the morning and go on to a thing and say, oh, the box is working today, I'm making money. If you go on there and it says needs attention, you might have to go in and resync it, which takes a minute to do. But if you don't check it for a week, there's a week that's gone by without any revenue. And if it's free and you just got it, and you don't even check it, we got to make outbound calls to people, and it's just a mess. But if you're paying $18 a month, or you're paid $400 for a deposit that you'll get back eventually in 3 years, they're actually working on a program now where if the box does a certain amount, I think they're just going to send the $400 back, because there's really no more risk for that box. So that's awesome. Something that they'll talk about tomorrow night, because tomorrow night's a big night. The financial investors are going to be on the call, which is pretty rare for a company to actually have their private equity investors actually come on and introduce themselves to the field. I just want to know when we're getting boxes. And that's always been my thing, to be able to recruit someone into the business and say, hey, if you get in and sign up, do the $99 thing, you're in the queue for the shipping. And based on that number that you receive back when you do that order, I'll know what month you're going to get your box in. That's, to me, is all the clarity I really need to roll up my sleeves and go out and try to build a business. But the quality of people that are taking care of their boxes, just looking at them once a day, making sure that they're working. And believe you me, when you're where I am right now, which I'm pretty deep into this, I love this whole concept. I think the future of IoT and the future of helium, the network, is brilliant. I mean, people have been trying to do stuff like this. Amazon, Google, they've all been trying to do this stuff through, the little eco dots and all that. That's all IoT stuff, but they don't give any incentive to anybody, and they don't have the 300 to 500 meters of extended Wi-Fi. And then, in the future, they're going to announce these other, cellular devices that have the ability to do actually mobile, could create our own wireless network that is not beholden to any one company that can, in this day and age, the thought of the people's network makes so much sense because it's decentralized and there's freaking no censoring of anything, and it's just stuff that's the people's stuff. It's a better world to live in my opinion, and I'm proud to be part of that. So anyway, that's kind of the backstory behind the news. It's not something that corporates trying to do bait and switch, and right now anyone has invested anything with iHub, it's been their time and their sweat equity, and it is not all you first introduced it to, and kind of relay the same type of message that you're hearing today, trying to encourage people to get on the call tomorrow night just to understand it. Immediately when I first heard about it, I was like, oh my God, you got to be freaking kidding me. We all have the same reaction, but cooler heads prevail. And if someone takes the time to just logically understand why this is happening, then I think it becomes a little more clear, and people, can say, okay, now they're asking me to make my first kind of investment into this $99 thing, but I believe that I'm going to not only make up that investment, and I'm gonna really make a decent income from this opportunity, because when I get my box, if you've recruited people already to be sponsors and hosts of these boxes, great. But if you're waiting for the box to come to see how it works, to then go out and talk, that day is coming soon, and you'll be able to have a box, and you'll be able to actually start to share this with other people with the knowledge that, hey, it does work. I have one. And, once 19,000 people have one and it's working, they see it work, believe you me, it's going to explode with growth. So we are in the beginning stages, and it's funny. Eric Worre, when we were out at his studio, he tells the story, and it's where I learned the story from him years ago with the people with the machetes in the beginning that have to go through the crap in the jungle, cutting down the trees, try to cut a path, and there's lions attacking them, and there's tigers, and they're getting beat up by people. But you're swinging away, and eventually you've kind of created a pathway for other people to go through. But it was because of your efforts that they were able to go through easier. These people going through it easier, but they're still bumping. There's be bumps along the way, and eventually you get the super highway. Perfect. Everything's working just as they wanted to, and you are the ones with the machetes are the ones that will own the toll booths on the super highway. And every time somebody goes through, you are collecting on it. So he says, Eric Worre says, the people that come in on the super highway, they're going to make $1, right? The people that were in the dirt road phase, they're going to make $10. And the people that were with the machetes, they're making $100. So that's where we are. We're the machete swingers, and to me, it's exciting. I love being part of that stuff, and I think that we're all in it together. And I hope you guys understand what's going on a little bit more clearly now. And I'd say now I'm more convictional than I ever have been, because I know boxes are coming, and I know when they're coming, and that changes the game for me.
Yep.
So, any questions?
Well, I want to throw out a couple things, just kind of touch on what you said, and I'm going to back it up with a couple things. The first one is about having skin in the game is important because the boxes are not, they're finicky. That's the only way I can say it, okay? We have, I think, 14 boxes that are out there, and of the 14, there's like 11 of them that are something that's called relayed. I'm not going to get into what that is, but you have to jump through a couple of hoops to get it off of that, and what that means, it's not producing at a level. It's actually producing at like 1/10 or 1/5 the level that it should be producing at, right? So you got to jump through some hoops to make that happen. Well, somebody who's got no skin in the game, they don't even know that it's relayed, much less what that means or how to fix it. But how to fix that, it's not tough to do, but it does take, 15, 20 minutes of your time to learn how to do it, and then another 10, 15 minutes to actually do it, okay? So that's just an example that I've already experienced. I can back up exactly what Ed's saying from my actual experience. And then the other thing is, most of us on here have some type of business experience and probably even in this type of industry. And now we have so much more control because I'll give you an example. My dad, who's on this call, he got registered, put his deposit in, I think, was it last night at 9 o'clock? Something like that. I think it was last night at 9 o'clock. He's on here. I don't know if he can unmute and say. But let's just go. I think it was 9 o'clock last night, okay? And he was number 682. Okay? 682. So from Sunday, when they announced this, till last night at 9 o'clock, 682 people. Okay? So he's going to be in that first batch that gets shipped out. Now, I had somebody else, Shawn Loomis, who I don't think is on this call, but he's in Sean Gatz's group and in my mom's group. He registered this morning and sent me his number, and his number is 733. So from last night at 9 to this morning, let's see, what time was this that he sent me this? He sent me this at 10:46 this morning. Okay? So another 50 people had gotten registered. Guys, do you see the opportunity that you have? Everybody was trying to figure out, how can I jump to the front of the list? There's thousands of people that are part of this. Man, if I could jump to the front of the list, I'd pay. What would you have paid? What would you have paid if somebody came to you last week and said, you can jump to the front of the list and get a box before anybody else? They said it was $100. Would you do it? Tokens worth $50 a piece, $45 a piece, whatever it is. All you need is 2 tokens, and you paid back that $100. I know I would do it. I'm doing it. I all day, every day. Right? I do it. What is it? All day and twice on Sundays or something like that, right? So this is a phenomenal opportunity. Now we take control. So now when you've got that whole team of people out there, and we're all wondering, well, what if Sean Gatz gets his box before Eileen gets her box, and Eileen is actually in depth under Phyllis? So what does that mean? And all this kind of, we're trying to figure all that stuff out. We don't have that anymore. Now we can look on our website. We can see who's gotten registered, put their deposit down. We know who's going to get a box in which batch. We can actually see how our business is going to develop. We've got a little bit of control on it, We can talk to each other and everything and make sure that it happens in a proper order, and you've got right people on your pro team, your bronze team, your silver, and your gold. We've got so much more control of our business now than we did before, where it was just like sit on our hands and wait and see when I get a box. Mike Cersei was on here. I don't see MS anymore, so maybe he had to drop off. But Mike and I live in Tennessee in not real urban kind of areas. Do you know how long it was going to take us to get a box? But now Mike's got like 15, 20 people on his team. They all live in fairly close proximity to each other. Now they can all get on the list, get their boxes in January, and all those boxes can be talking to each other, and they're set. And they don't have to wonder, I wonder if I'm close enough that they actually think that my 6-pack is actually profitable enough to send us a box and everything. All that confusion about, I wonder if I've got more than 6 people on my team, but I'm not sure they live close enough to each other to actually qualify as a 6-pack. Are they in my little green halo and all that kind of? No more of that. You got 6 of your friends. You all live in the same town. You all get a box. If you're in the first, 19,000 or whatever that's going out in January, you're all getting your box in January. They're all going to be on. Now you can kind of figure out, okay, now we got our boxes on. We can kind of see where we need to add other boxes. Guys, and you can tell those people, I know if you get your order in right now, you're going to have your box in February. You're going to have it in March. Right now, everybody can still get in January. Okay? So, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm pretty fired up about this, and it's because I have control back now, where before it was just sign up as many people as you can and sit and wait. And now we don't have that. We've got control back. So I'm excited about this. Ed said, if anybody's got any questions or something, feel free to throw them out. But, at this point, I'm ready to roll. Who's got?
So one last thing I'll bring up is that another thing we're going to learn more about on December 11th is one of the parts that I'm really excited about, because I built Nextel network out in Maryland. I was the one responsible for building that network out. I don't know if anybody remembers this Nextel, but they were push-to-talk walkie-talkies. I had a Motorola two-way radio shop with a couple towers, and Nextel approached me, and I went in and I went and got farmers to agree to have repeaters on their land, and it was a whole bunch of work that I did. I got paid well to do it, right? But I didn't own anything. It wasn't mine. But I also had 10 retail stores in Maryland that I sold phones to Nextel, and I fixed them because they were breaking all the time, because a lot of workers use these phones. So I'd have mud in my showrooms, boots kicking mud. It was crazy, but it was fun. I loved it. So Sprint came in and bought them out, and I made a good living all through that time, but I wasn't really excited about Sprint because they wanted to get rid of this push-to-talk thing that I really liked. So I decided to sell the business at that point because I wasn't passionate about it anymore. But I think back to those days, and if I could have owned a little chunk of that, that's where the money was, right? Not only a chunk of that, but the chunk of the network that allows the phones to communicate, but also a chunk of what's being communicated, the data, and the revenue that comes from that. When you think about something like Apple, they own the phone and they have their app store, and you go in and buy an app, Apple's making a ton of money because they control that whole thing. Well, we're going to have an opportunity as iHub Global to be able to actually sell these IoT devices into the marketplace. And there's going to be some really cool things that come from IoT. Like these things is like, oh my gosh, every restaurant would want that, or every business would need that. And we're going to have an opportunity to be able to resell stuff, which then flows right back into the comp plan. So when you think about it, what we're doing now with iHub is building this foundation. We're building a network to allow business to occur on, and we're going to get paid really well for building that track, right? The foundation. But the ancillary stuff that's going to come long term, it's hard to wrap your head around how lucrative this could be if you roll up your sleeves and take some action right now and just own a little chunk of it. 0.0000001% of the people's network. And what comes with that long term, it could be a legacy situation for all of us. So that's what excites me. We're going to have this marketplace that opens up on December 11th. And I saw some of the IoT devices that are going to be available right from the beginning. We have one of the major veterans of the entire IoT universe, been doing it for 40 years. And he's the guy that's procuring packages for us to be able to sell to homeowners, restaurant owners, retail owners, really cool stuff. And that's just scratching the surface on what is to come in the future. So I'm excited, if you can't tell. And I've been in this situation one other time in my life. We were deregulated energy in 2010 in Maryland, and I was a rep for a company that said we're launching in June, June of 2010, and build your networks out. And when we go live, everybody can go get customers, and boom, you'll make a lot of money. So we worked our butts off, and we were going to a meeting in the beginning of June to kind of make the big announcement and the Public Service Commission of Maryland, they have a meeting every Wednesday or Thursday, I forget what it is, where they give licenses and stuff. Well, we were on the docket to get our license, and everything was going to be good, and they got bumped because giving a license to a company is like something they do in their sleep, but it wasn't important enough for all the other things on the agenda, so they bumped us. They bumped us for 2 months. So imagine there's 1,000 people in a room, and nothing we had control over. We got bumped for 2 months. We had to tell that news, and then we got bumped again for 3 months. 6 months until we got the license and could go. Well, out of the 1,000 people that we started off with at that first meeting, it had dwindled down to about 500. A bunch of people just fell off, said, this is crap. The ones that hung in there, they made a lot of money. The ones that jumped off, they just look back at it and say, holy crap. But I worked my butt off for an entire year, probably 60 hours a week, at nights, sacrificing family time and all that for something that I really believed in, a vision, and it finally happened. And it was more rewarding than anything I've ever done. So that's that. But here we are again. I don't think the pain is going to be as great as that was, but the reward is certainly going to be far greater, I believe. So anyway,
yep,
I'm excited. You can't tell. Greg, you got a question?
Yes. I had heard something to the effect of, although we pay the $99 and the lease or the deposit, you're still going to be using the assessment to determine who gets the box. I mean, is it possible that you're going to pay this and then not get a box because somebody's assessment came out better than yours? Or
no, because what they're going to do there is if you don't have a good address, like let's say you live in the middle of nowhere and there's no other boxes around, and you're going to get a box at your house, you're just going to pay $19 a month or $18 a month. You're not going to make any money, right? So that would be a bad deal for everybody involved. So they'll look at that and say, hey, you're in the shipping queue, but I think you could need another address. So you might have to think about a different address than the one you have, because you're not going to be happy if you get a box and you put it in a place that's not going to make any money, because you're just going to end up paying $18 a month for no return. So you'll be in the queue to get the shipping, but they're going to ask you to look at a different address.
And it can be a family member, it could be a business owner that you know downtown, it can be anywhere you want to. But yeah, I mean, think about it. What good would it do for me to put a box here at my house? Yeah, I've got one, but it's not making anything every single month. That's no good for me. It's no good for my upline. It's no good for iHub. So I like that because they're looking out for all of us. It's not that we're not getting the box in the same order that we were going to get it in. They're just asking us, hey, please find a better address where all of us are going to make money off this thing.
So you could, and the best part about this, think about this, is you don't have to have, the reason why this is an affiliate market opportunity rather than a network marketing opportunity is because nobody has to pay anything to make money with iHub Global. You do not have to have a box. You do not have to pay any money to be part of this. You could go out there and build a team that makes you $1 million a month, and you don't have to pay anything to do that. That opportunity is there. The only thing you're missing by not having a box at your house is, $82 a month on average, right? That's the only thing that you'd be missing out on if you don't have the box at your house.
Yeah. Hey, I think Mike Ceresy's back on here. Mike, did you hear the example that I used earlier about you and your guys in the Cookville area? I think that goes to the same question. I don't know if Mike, you're muted. I don't know if you can unmute there. Anyways, so
I think here's one thing that I can give a little sneak preview for. Tomorrow night, Rick is going to, address everybody. He's going to kind of really explain and go through the how to order and introduce you to the investors and stuff. So there have been with going order, verifying addresses and stuff like that. So they're ironing those out. But once he does his thing tomorrow night, the shipping queue is going to fill up real quick, and they're going to have, I think, a date of something like December 3rd or 2nd or something, where you have until that point to go in and do what you need to do to get a box. And if you don't do it by then all the orange dots that don't have a $99 deposit or whatever are going to be wiped off the map. They're not, it doesn't mean that you are out of the business, but the real estate is going to be freed up. You could go back in and say, oh, shoot, I can't believe it. You could go back in that day and reserve a box and get your orange dot back. But they want to free up the real estate so that so it's not so many orange dots around there that might that people might not pay the $99. They got to free up that real estate for the people that don't. But once he does his dog and pony tomorrow night, where we are now is 721 or whatever you said. We'll get to 19,000, I believe, by probably like the 18th of the month. What day is today? Yeah, about 8 days. I think it's just going to fly at that point. People are going to be ordering like crazy.
Yeah, because people just don't.
So get your teams. The point of the story is get your teams. Like, make those calls to the people that you brought in. And this is where, when you start making those calls and telling the story, you might get a lion or a tiger biting you and beating you up, and that's you doing the machete in the jungle. You might have to tell the story a couple times to different people. But the ones that get it and understand it, get them to go in there and do it, because then you don't want them to get it in February when they could get it in January, you know?
Yep. And everybody reach out to your personal people. If you know any of the people in depth, reach out to them and get them on that thing tomorrow night, because I think, we're also, I think, a little bit spoiled. I'm sitting here, I'm listening to Ed talk, and I'm thinking, I actually have three guys. I was going to say a guy, but I can pick up the phone and call, or I can text or something like that and ask questions of, right? Did you hear what Ed was talking about at the beginning of the call? He was talking about how a lot of people saw some post on Facebook or an ad someplace or something, and they just went online with this, what they thought was like a promo code or something, and they registered and they got a box, and they don't even know who that person is. They don't have a team. They weren't able to plug into meetings like this. They didn't have anybody to call and ask questions of. So we're a little bit spoiled, I think, in that, we're kind of used to that kind of interaction. There's a lot of people out there that don't have that kind of interaction. So they're going to see Rick tomorrow night and all the investors and everything, and they're going to go from all this garbage that they think they know to actually understanding what now we all have an understanding of. And then I think the numbers are going to start popping like Ed was talking about. So we need to make sure that we're talking to our folks, getting them in the queue as much as possible right now, or worst case scenario, make sure that they're on that video conference tomorrow night, and they get a real understanding of what's going on here. So, anybody else got any questions or anything?
Yes, Shawn, I'd like to ask a question.
Okay.
Regarding the 300 meters and the six-pack, is that whole plan still in operation? You mentioned it earlier. Is that still part of the plan that they're to be 300 meters apart, and we're going to still have the six-pack program?
Yeah, Ed, maybe you can talk better to this, but I know that you still don't want one inside of 300 meters from another box.
Okay.
And if you can have it inside of, like, if you're right at that, like, quarter mile to mile range, that's still the important thing. If we can make that happen, I think that's where it's going to go to. Like, that's what I was talking about earlier with Mike Saracey, who's back on the call here, where he's got a group of people who are fairly close to each other, but not right up next to each other. And now they don't have to wonder, well, since none of us have a box, we're not really good at dresses. But if all of us had a box, we would actually be good at dresses. So now they don't have to worry about that kind of crap. The ambiguity and the uncertainty of what's going on. Now they know, if I register now, I'm going to be number 750, 751, 752, 753, through 780. Now they know that their 10 people in that little town are all going to get a box in that order, and they're going to be good at dresses because now they got 10 boxes talking to each other right there. Right. So all that like uncertainty of what the heck is going on is gone now. If you're in that spot in the queue, you're getting a box. So, yeah, you still want to be in that range because the boxes only talk to each other if they're in that range, but you don't have to worry about when you're going to actually get a box or not.
Well, this has really confirmed a lot of the things that I was thinking about. I'm happy to know that I came to the right conclusion because I was thinking about a lot of these things after hearing this announcement over the weekend. And then the more I thought about it, it just made perfect sense. You can't give away anything forever for free. There's no such animal. It just doesn't work. And if human beings don't have something invested in something, they see no need to work at it or struggle with it or overcome whatever obstacles. That's just the way people are. So the more I thought about this, I said, this makes sense. It increased the value of the HNT. Investors look at that and they're saying, hey, they've got a real business plan here now. You know, it's not just a giveaway.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good move.
Yeah, and that H&T price, if it just stayed here for another year at $45, $50, just stayed right there. Guys, think of the difference that just happened right now. If our box is only making 10 tokens a month, and we're at that 25%, I mean, do the math here. And then you got all your folks in your downline, you know, and they're making 8 or 10 tokens a month. And I think that's low. My dad and I were on last night, or 2 nights ago, we were on Helium Track and looking at different things. And I think we found a box that made 2,000 tokens in the last 30 days.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Right? Was it 2,000 or 200? I think it was 2,000. Where is he? Come on.
But, you know, it's funny. I was with a guy over the weekend. His name's Doug Borden. And he's been mining helium for 2 years. And he bought 50 boxes 2 years ago. He bought 6 boxes and waited 6 months to see how it did. And then he went and made the big investment. And he had a daughter in college. She was a freshman. And he gave it to her. He said, honey, you're going to get 4 boxes. I want you to go to your school and put them out there. So she did it. She's like, Dad, this sucks. You're weird. I hate this. But she did it. She said, all right, I'm going to put this thing here. And he'd call her like once a week and say, hey, the one person must have kicked the light off or something, and go fix that box. She's like, this is the worst, Dad. So meanwhile, her tokens are adding up, okay, over the last 2 years. And she's never touched it. She doesn't care about it. It's fake now, right? Well, he calls her up over the weekend when the coin went through the roof. Her account was worth $67,000.
Wow.
$67,000. And he's like, honey, you want to see something pretty cool? Go into that wallet I taught you to do. She went into it. She's like, what is this? And
I bet she was like, what is this?
she's like, whoa, I'm going backpacking in Europe.
Yeah. And guys, it's a golden opportunity, and I'm super fired up. So I hope you guys are too. We got like 6 minutes left. I don't want to keep you guys any longer than that, but I think Theo kept kind of unmuting himself, and then one of us would jump in on him. Theo, did you have something you wanted to ask, or did we cover it?
I know Ed gave the example between sort of the leasing and the just sort of the deposit option. Did you have a preference between the two? And also, I went in the back office and I saw a link for CoinZoom. Is that something I should sign up for now? And just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so my preference personally is I would rather take $400 and put it into like helium, me personally. And because I think $400 in helium today and 3 years from now it could be worth a lot more than putting it into an escrow account and just paying the $18. So that's just my personal thought on that. Then on the CoinZoom, they're going to be our payment partner. So when you earn the coins, you put them over to CoinZoom, and in CoinZoom you're going to be able to do anything. You can sell your tokens there. You can exchange them for other tokens. You can even buy some stocks. You can get a Visa card and use it, go to a restaurant, eat, and they'll just automatically liquidate HNT. But they pay us 5% to have our helium in the wallet there. So that's good percentage on your money. So yeah, you can go set it up right now and play around with it. I think there was a problem with the link because I tried to do it a couple times and I haven't been able to do it. But the tech guys are aware that there was a link, but it could be fixed now. It was where you had to put in your birthday, and there was no way to go back but month by month. So I'm 69. I would have to click it like 700 times or something to get to it. So it's just this little weird glitch. But it could have been fixed by now. I haven't checked today. But yes, get it, play around with it. You can buy the Zoom coin only through CoinZoom. But here's a little information, right? CoinZoom has won a potentially huge account, right? They're going to make a lot of money off their relationship with iHub Global, and they have a coin too. Their coin is, last I checked, it was like 0.089 cents or something. And I want to buy it, but the only way I know how to buy it is getting into the coin Zoom first and then buying it, because I think it's going to do really well. It's going to make a lot of money off this account, so I think that the coin itself could do really well.
That's very interesting right there.
Yes, it is.
Sounds good to me.
It's like legal inside information, right?
What? I don't hear nothing.
Yeah.
I hear nothing. We're not recording this either, so we don't have it for posterity.
No, that wouldn't even make a stitch in, because it's public information, right? We partnered up with them, and we're just being smart about it.
Yeah, for sure. It's on it's on the website in the back office already. I don't think we're divulging any insider information, but yeah, man.
Right.
Hey, Shawn, can I ask one other question?
Yeah.
I live in a ground floor apartment. It's a garden apartment complex, but it's a ground floor. I'm not sure we're allowed to put anything out on the roof of this apartment complex. But do you have any suggestions about how I might best position? I've been trying to think of other places I could go and people I could probably contact who might allow me to set something up at their home or their office. Not coming up with a lot of great choices, but I know with the improved antenna that we're getting, it should help in, reaching out and extending. But I'm just curious, do you have any suggestions what I might do? Or have you had anyone who has lived on a ground floor apartment and any idea of what kind of rewards they've been receiving? Anything like that?
That's a good question, Ed. You might know better. I'm just wondering, are you guys allowed to get like Dish Network or Direct TV or anything? Do they do any of that stuff?
No.
No? Okay.
No. I have the internet, but that's it.
Help. What's that?
I have the internet, but that's it.
Right.
How tall is the building?
There are only three floors.
3 floors? Okay.
Yeah.
Where is it located?
Laurel.
Do you know who the owner of the building is?
Yes.
I might have a conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And say, hey, listen, I'm going to do this on the ground floor, but it would be really great and a lot of more rewards on the third. But even on the third, if you're on the ground floor, if you Google 915 frequency antennas, okay, you can get some different examples, and some antennas are designed to actually take the signal up and over. So they're designed to do that up and over thing.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if that's the 5.8 or the 8, which are the ones that are going to come, because they're the most common. But there are antennas that do different tricks. There's directional antennas that if you see a box is in the north, but there's none else around, you can directionally send it to the north.
All right. Okay. All right.
So there might be a different antenna type. Or I would definitely talk, if you know the owner of the building, I would definitely say, hey, if you have roof access up here, you could potentially make a lot of extra money, and you could just get them as an affiliate as well.
As an affiliate. Okay. That's a good idea. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And this goes back to like the control that we have. Like I literally know some people who own businesses that I'm going to say, I'm going to front the $99, and y'all can say you didn't hear this from me or whatever, but I'll front the $99. It's $18 a month after that. Let's put it in your shop for 2 months. At the end of the 2 months, if you don't want it, I'll take the box back. Okay? I'm going to do that with some places that I know are good locations, but maybe the guy's a little skeptical of what's going on. I'm going to say, look, you got no skin in the game here at all. I'm going to come in and set the whole thing up. 2 months in, if you're making enough money off of it, you want to keep it, great. If not, I'll take it back. Why wouldn't you do that with the owner of the building?
Yeah. Make
him an affiliate, let him have that box. 2 months in, he's like, yeah, man, this is pretty sweet, actually.
Okay.
So just ideas. And people, you don't have to do that. You can come up with another scenario. One of the things that I love is when people text me back and say, hey, I heard what you said on that call. I put a little different spin on it, and here's the results. And even if the results suck, even if it's something wrong, I love that because, God can't steer a parked car kind of thing, right? People taking action, you can learn from that, and you can be successful now because you messed up and it wasn't the right thing to do, or you did well and you're sharing the information with other people so they can be successful also. That is a wonderful thing. So whether you're doing what I just said or you come up with something new, you know, as long as you're not breaking the law or something, I just consider you an entrepreneur and you're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yep.
All right, guys, we've been on 1 hour and 2 minutes, so I'm available. I like WhatsApp better than anything else. I think you guys heard it. If you were on the very beginning of the call, I said tonight I'm going to Sliders Bar and Grill, and then I'm going to Alan Jackson's Bar and Grill. So I don't drink, but man, do I eat. Okay? So that's what I'm doing tonight. That's my rest of the evening or whatever. But if you leave me a WhatsApp, I promise you I will get back to you, and then we can get on a phone call tomorrow or something like that. But don't hesitate to reach out. And don't hesitate to pass my number on to people in your group or something if they want to call and talk, whether it's about this stuff or anything else in the future. You know, don't hesitate to pass out the number, email address, whatever. Okay, guys.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
Appreciate you guys jumping
Thanks,
on.
guys.
Here.
Appreciate.
Really, really do. And hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
You got
Okay.
it.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks, guys.